on how these funds are spent?
There will be the Board of Peace, which the president is, of course, the chairman of, but all of the member parties, I believe, will have votes on the funding. And then, of course, there is that technocratic layer underneath the official Board of Peace with the member.
Live from Michigan Avenue, this is Good Day Chicago.
Good morning and welcome to Good Day Chicago. I'm Brian Jackson. Here's a look at some of the stories we're following this morning. A search for a missing man ends in heartbreak after officials say that his body was found in the Fox River. Efforts to override a veto on Chicago's hemp ban fails. What we're now hearing from the latest city council meeting. Taking a live look outside. Enjoy this quiet morning because you can see some major storms a little bit later in the day. For more on tracking some of those storms, here's Mike Kaplan. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, we've already had a couple of thunderstorms way south of Chicago, Brian. Good morning, everybody. Most of that activity now is well away from Chicagoland. Could be a couple of sprinkles around, though, this morning. The main action, though, I think is going to happen this afternoon. That's when you need to be weather ready for the possibility of a stronger thunderstorm coming in here. Today, not as warm as yesterday. Won't be as sunny either, but still well above normal. Mainly dry at 9, 47 degrees. Waiting for the rain at noon. It'll be 53 at O'Hare at that time. Then a chance for some scattered thunderstorms. I'll put 46 up for the number at O'Hare at that time. But it'll be cooler at the lakefront and significantly warmer, say, well south of I-80 this afternoon. It's going to be a big temperature spread across the area. We'll look at that storm risk and the timing here in just a couple of minutes. Brian?
Well, new this morning, the former Prince Andrew was arrested in Britain this morning. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is accused of suspicion of misconduct in public office. Andrew was stripped of his royal titles because of his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Police have been investigating a woman's claims that she was trafficked by Epstein to have sex with Andrew when she was underage. We now have the schedule for services to honor civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson. Next Wednesday, the 25th, Reverend Jackson will line state at the Rainbow Push Coalition from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. And on Thursday, the 26th, from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. On Friday, the 27th, a people's celebration will be held at the House of Hope. That is at 752 East 114th Street in Chicago. Services from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And then on Saturday, the 28th, homecoming services will be held at the Rainbow Push Coalition. That is at 930 East 50th Street. The services from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Now to a developing story we're following. A man who was reported missing in Chicago's west suburbs is found dead in the Fox River. The body was found on Tuesday near a dam in South Elgin. Kane County Coroner's Office identified the man as 53-year-old Ulysses Miguel Segura Durantes, who had been reported missing back on November the 29th of 2025. The coroner says that the preliminary cause of death was drowning. No word yet on the toxicology results. Governor J.B. Pritzker presented his $56 billion budget during the Illinois State of the State address. The theme of this address was affordability. In the budget, the governor is proposing to put a temporary pause on tax credits for building new data centers. The pause is to address the rise in energy demands and rising electric bills. Illinois Republicans appear skeptical about the plan.
My goal is delivering at least 2 gigawatts of new clean nuclear capacity in our state, enough to power up to 2 million Illinois homes.
At a time when other states are competing aggressively for investment, this is what we listen to today. Illinois doesn't have a revenue problem. Illinois has a spending problem, and Illinois has a priorities problem.
Governor Pritzker is also proposing a new tax on social media companies. The Chicago City Council failed to override Mayor Brandon Johnson's veto on a ban of intoxicating hemp products. The ban sailed through City Council, but was vetoed due to its impact on small businesses. Some alders wanted to override the mayor's decision, but just did not have enough support. And it comes in drinks and edibles. People who use hemp say it helps them relax. It's not allowed for anyone under the age of 21, but there is a concern about safety. Mayor Brandon Johnson says there's still more work to do.
Let me be absolutely clear. I am very much concerned and share the concerns that have been raised about hemp products lacking proper safeguards, especially when it comes to packaging or sales practices that may appeal to our children. But while we wait for additional guidance and rules from the federal government, I am vetoing the proposed ordinance as written, as it felt premature and would effectively be a prohibition-style ban on hemp businesses.
There are currently hundreds of hemp shops in Chicago. Mayor Johnson says many of them are minority owners who were locked out when the cannabis industry started here in Illinois. He believes they should be given a fair chance. It has now been 19 days since 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie disappeared from her home in Tucson, Arizona. Investigators have been going through different pieces of evidence in the case. They believe that the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie was taken against her will. The Pima County Sheriff's Office says that the DNA found on Nancy's property did not belong to her or someone in close contact with her. This comes after they revealed that the DNA found on a glove recovered roughly 2 miles from her home was not in the FBI's DNA index system for criminals. Well, people continue to pay their respects to the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, who died at the age of 84. Among them is a woman who became a part of his supporting family. Hermine Hartman met Jackson after school in Chicago when he headed up the Operation Breadbasket. She later worked alongside him at Rainbow Push and supported him throughout both of his presidential campaigns. Hartman remembers when Jackson surprised everyone and told her that he was running for president. He finished third in the Democratic nomination race in 1984, but 88 was a much different story. He emerged as a runner-up, leading a grassroots campaign with limited funding that nevertheless made a significant impact.
88 was magnificent, and it just blew. It just went. It was very successful. Points made. It was just wonderful. Had we lived in today, if 88 could have been 2026, I think Reverend would have won, because with social media, we would have had another control factor, another communication factor, and Jesse would be so right for social media until I think it could have been influential. He made a lot of strides. As you know, he changed the political landscape of America.
Hartman herself, a distinguished and well-known Chicagoan, is the founder of Indigo Studio. They will be releasing a new documentary on Jesse Jackson in March. You can find that on the Indigo Studio YouTube channel. Well, for the first time ever, ICE agents were allowed priests to go inside the Broadview Detention Facility, where they offered ashes and communion to detainees as a part of Ash Wednesday. They spent a total of 2 hours inside the facility. They were not allowed to speak on anything regarding the conditions inside, but they did say that the detainees who received ashes appeared to be both confused and scared.
That body is broken and it's hurting, and I feel as if, in a certain sense, society, representing a society with dirty hands, actually asking for the forgiveness of those who are being detained, as opposed to encouraging them to repent and of their sins.
The service is meant to highlight what they call a moral crisis inside detention centers and to show solidarity with immigrant communities. Turning to sports now, Fighting Illini men's basketball program took care of business against USC last night. And Mike, not much time left before the Big Ten tournament kicks off.
That's right. And then right after that, we're going to get
March Madness.
March Madness. All right. The Fighting Illini, they're currently number 10 in the AP, but they're a dangerous team. They're in second place in the Big Ten standings. If they want a good spot in the conference tournament, they will want to win out the remaining games they have before that madness begins. So it all starts with an impressive road win out there on the West Coast against the Trojans. First half, Keaton Wagler lobs it up to Zvaldimir Ivicic for the alley-oop slam. And then before halftime, just off the missed shot, it's Kylan Boswell finishing with a slam dunk. An easy win. Illinois steamrolls USC 101-65. Back at home, Northwestern also comes away with a big win last night. Second half, Angelo Cheravino gets the pass and finishes the slam. Later, Northwestern actually down 6 when Jordan Clayton drains this three. That's good. About 3 minutes later, he's going to do it again from almost the same spot. It was close, but Northwestern comes out on top 78-74 over Maryland. Terrapins' Andre Mills, though, with an incredible night. He scored 39. DePaul, they get a big win over Seton Hall. First half tied at 21. Brandon Macklin lobs it to N.J. Benson for the alley-oop slam. Under a minute left in the first. Look at this. A.J. Staten McCray is going to get the ball. He knocks down that three. That's a swisheroo. Late in the second half, C.J. Gunn is going to get the ball. And what is he going to do? Drain a three-pointer from the corner. That's good. And DePaul goes on to win by 12, 69-57 over the Pirates. It's their first road win in the Big East this entire season. Hockey, obviously a lot of focus on the Olympics now, but the Blackhawks resumed full practice yesterday, back from the Winter Olympic break. Connor Bedard seen taking face-offs for the first time after sustaining an injury on December 12th against the Blues. A 20-year-old sustained a right shoulder injury, remember. It resulted in him missing 13 games. The Hawks will return to action Thursday night against the Predators. All right, let's take a look at today's sports schedule. The Bulls, they've got a home game tonight. They're going to host the Raptors at 7. And in women's college hoops, Notre Dame will take on the Demon Deacons at 5 p.m. All right, weather-wise, yesterday, 60s, sunshine, absolutely a spectacular day. It is partly cloudy out there right now, and we're kind of waiting for things to percolate here later on, as there could be some strong thunderstorms. These are the current temperatures. A little cooler than it was yesterday at this time. Remember, it was all 50s. Well, it's 31 at Aurora, 41 at O'Hare, 39 at Gary. Waukegan has dropped very close to freezing, and there's been just a little bit of rain and a couple of thunderstorms way south of the Kankakee River early this morning. You'll see that flaring up here in our satellite and radar review. That activity now is way off to the east, so it's kind of sit and wait here for things to get going later today. This is the outlook for the risk of severe weather. The highest chances are downstate, but a big portion of Chicagoland, really kind of all the way up to I-90, that is where there's a level 1 marginal risk, particularly of a damaging wind or maybe some small hail-producing thunderstorms. This risk of severe thunderstorms gets much higher downstate in central Indiana, all the way over towards Cincinnati and Louisville. So what about timing? When can you expect it? Well, the rain, as we pointed out a little while ago, staying off to the east of Chicagoland this morning. By noon, not much going on yet, but a little uptick in cloud cover. There could be a few showers during the afternoon, but I think if anything stronger is going to get going, looks a little bit later than it did yesterday. There you see a few scattered thunderstorms popping up. That's 8 o'clock. Then this activity quickly moves north so that by about 10:30, it is out of here. So I'm going to say kind of between about 7 and 10. And then what's this? That is snow coming in here tomorrow morning, maybe enough to whiten the ground in a few spots, I think.
Say it ain't snow.
Shake your
Say it
head
ain't
at me,
snow.
right? The roads, I think, are going to be fine. It's been too warm of late. Give me a look at that 7-day in just a little bit.
Well, coming up on Good Day, another heated debate between two Cook County leaders. What the top candidates running for the Cook County assessor had to say about your property taxes.
and save.
Here's a look at your top stories this morning. We're continuing to follow a developing story out of South Elgin, where a man reported missing was found dead in the Fox River. The body was found on Tuesday near the 100 block of North Center Street. The coroner says that the preliminary cause of death was drowning. Governor J.B. Pritzker presented his $56 billion budget during the Illinois State of the State address. In the budget, he's proposing to temporarily pause tax credits for building new data centers. The pause on tax credits is to address the rise in energy demands and rising electric bills. For the first time ever, ICE agents allowed priests to go inside the Broadview detention facility. They offered ashes and communion to detainees as a part of Ash Wednesday. They spent a total of 2 hours inside the facility. They were not allowed to speak on anything regarding the conditions inside. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg spent Wednesday getting grilled over whether his company purposely created platforms that are addictive to young users. Zuckerberg was seen leaving a Los Angeles courthouse. His testimony comes after a 20-year-old woman who was an Instagram user claimed being addicted to social media at a young age led her towards depression and suicidal thoughts. Zuckerberg has denied that the platforms were intentionally designed to make people addicted. Two Democratic primary candidates running for the Cook County assessors sparred over their approach to dealing with property taxes and campaign contributions during the Chicago Report debate. It was between Chris Kagi and Pat Hines. Take a listen to what they had to say.
I think it's unfair and it shouldn't have happened, and I'm concerned. The reason why is my assessments, if they'd not been changed, homeowners would have had less share of the burden, and in 2/3 of our neighborhoods in Chicago, bills would have been flatter down. But in a pattern that's continued from past years in the suburbs, big commercial properties got cuts at the Cook County Board of Review Commissioners. Every single cut and break that those commercial properties get passed on to our homeowners. And it has a number. It added $700.
Well, number one, we would clean up the underlying data used to produce the assessment. So right now, the data that's used to produce the assessment creates an unjust result. And so the garbage data that the county assessor has that they're putting through their modeling does not produce a credible result on the other side. Taxpayers know this. They're very frustrated with the results that are coming out of the office, the tax bills that they receive. They don't have any faith that that represents a fair and equitable distribution of the burden. And so it's very important that we have experience and competence to produce an assessment that taxpayers can have faith in.
You can catch up on your first 3 Chicago Report debates. The Senate Democrats, Toni Preckwinkle and her challenger, Brendan Riley, and as you just heard, Cook County Assessor Chris Kagi and his challenger, Pat Hines, should be right now on Fox Local. You can also watch them on YouTube and Spotify. You can find all of our election coverage at fox32chicago.com/election. We have 2 final debates next week. And also tune in Tuesday to watch Republican candidates for governor square off, Ted Dabrowski and James Menderick and Rick Heidner. And then on Wednesday, a 2-part debate featuring 6 Democrats running for the 9th District congressional seat. And of course, you can send us your questions to parisonpolitics@fox.com. Time now 4:48. Mike, in your last weather report, you were saying what I think we all knew. Winter's far from over.
Well, look, February, we've been coasting through this month so far. We're going to have just a few days where it looks and feels a little bit more February-ish, if that is indeed an adjective. Kids going to school today. Probably not going to be raining until maybe that ride home. I think a medium jacket is the way to go with temperatures for most of us getting into the 50s out there. Waiting for the rain at noon. There could be some showers nearby at 3, but not everybody's going to be getting in on that. This morning, we've seen a few showers and even thunderstorms here going through southern Newton and Jasper County. That is now off to the east of South Bend, and we're currently kind of in a lull, waiting for the next round of activity. As this low pressure area moves in, that will spark showers and a few thunderstorms here, I think, this afternoon and evening. And there's a chance a couple of them could be rather gusty. As that low passes our area, we'll first dry out, but then tomorrow morning, we get in the wraparound of this baby, and that's going to bring down a little bit of light snow. It is not much, maybe enough to whiten the ground in a few spots. The ground has been so warm of late, I just don't think we're going to see any kind of an accumulation. Maybe a little better chance for something sticking, say, in northwest Illinois. But that is going to introduce some chillier air here. Temperatures temperatures most of the day tomorrow will be in the 30s. Let's go for 55 today. There'll be a big spread. Near the lake, it'll be in the 40s, but it'll probably get into the low 60s well southwest of the city. Watch out for a shower or thunderstorm, especially late this afternoon into the evening hours. Eventually, we'll bottom out at 32 degrees, and that will herald the changeover to some snow tomorrow morning. I'm putting a high of 44. That's going to be the midnight temperature, and then temperatures will fall off. Over the weekend, mid to upper 30s for highs, but we start a new warming trend on Tuesday. Low 40s to mid 40s on Wednesday with a chance of rain.
Well, coming up, there's a new sit-down restaurant and is located in a local village that hasn't seen one in decades. We'll share the details when Good Day Chicago returns.
Days on Fox.
For the first time in more than 6 decades, there's now a sit-down restaurant in Fort Heights. This week, local chain S2 Grills opened at 801 East Lincoln Highway. They have comfort food classic and also some globally inspired dishes. We spoke with one of the founders on Chicago Live. He tells us that the opening sticks with the motto of "We love to serve underserved areas." But he says some people try to talk them out of opening in Fort Heights.
They didn't think that the community or the neighborhood we would be able to sustain, but we're out to prove them differently. And so far, we've got a great response from the residents. Even when we were doing construction, the residents were stopping by every day, thanking us so much, and can't wait till we get open. So it's no doubt in my mind that we will thrive there and do well.
This is now the 10th restaurant the owners have opened in the Chicago area since 2017. 7:54, checking back in with Mike. We got some precipitation on the way, Mike.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of sprinkles already this morning, and way south of the Kankakee River, southern Newton and Jasper County, actually had a couple rumbles of thunder. Let's look at the radar here, and you can see most of the activity is kind of squished over here on the right side of the screen, but there are a couple little blips here and there, and I want to kind of zoom in on those. And that includes over western Cook County. Here's a shower right over Ogden there, around LaGrange and Lyons, and a little bit farther to the south we go into Kankakee County. This looks like a real shower here that has popped up here east of I-57 right over Grant Park. I'm going to check in with my buddy Pat Paul, who reports for me quite often from that area. So yes, there's going to be some scattered shower activity at almost any time today. I just think that the stronger ones are coming in late afternoon and into the evening hours. It's 40 at O'Hare and Midway, 39 at Gary. Yeah, it's colder than it was yesterday, but still these numbers are warmer than normal. Down to 32 at Waukegan, 34 at Morris, and Woodstock it is 30. 35 degrees. I think highs today are going to show some variety across the area. Near the lake with an east component to the wind, it will be cooler, temps in the 40s. You get far enough south and southwest, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of low 60s showing up. You get in the I-80 corridor, so there will be about a 15 to almost 20 degree spread. Look at the 7-day forecast. After we negotiate some spring-like storms late this afternoon and this evening, it gets colder for a few days. Tomorrow's high will happen at midnight. The rest of tomorrow is going to be in the 30s. And yes, I think it will snow in the morning lightly. 38 on Saturday, 35s for Sunday and Monday. And then we start a warming trend. 42 on Tuesday, 45 on Wednesday. The downside will be a chance for a little bit of rain on Wednesday. All right, it is just about 4 minutes before 5 o'clock. We'll be right back after this.
Fox Local.
Hey, backcountry skiers are confirmed dead near Lake Tahoe following an avalanche. One skier still remains missing. 6 others survived. The skiers were all part of a tour group. There were questions this morning as to the tour, why it proceeded despite the extreme forecast. The Pentagon is considering to end its relationship with some of the nation's top universities after it says that they are too woke. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has given the military until Friday to evaluate its partnerships. Nearly 36 universities are at the risk of being barred from tuition, and including nearly every Ivy League school. Hegseth claims that colleges radicalize service members while former service members are pushing back. The director of the National Institutes of Health will take on an additional role. Jay Bhattacharya will temporarily serve as the acting director of the CDC. He will be replacing Health and Human Services Deputy